Why Tears of the Kingdom is my game of the year. The Game of the Year award is more or less a popularity contest between a handful of incredible games, each with their own unique experience and their own impact on the player. Although there might objectively be a better reviewed game, you're allowed to have your own Game of the Year. Your personal choice is an emotional choice. Which game got you the closest to feeling like the world isn't such a bad place? For me, the choice is simple and it's not even close. I think I knew from the opening Skydive. Hearing the music and seeing the title reveal was as exciting as it was nostalgic. Over 6 years passed between the release of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And even though I'm a little older, the memories from past Zelda games still live so vividly in my head that I feel like a child again. Just like the opening cinematic from the Great Plateau, I could feel a world that desperately wanted to be explored. It was absolutely gorgeous, even at the limited graphical capabilities of the Switch. I knew from that moment that I was in for another exciting ride. If you played Breath of the Wild, I think you can point to this as the first indicator for whether you will enjoy the game. Tears of the Kingdom offers an experience that obviously rivals Breath of the Wild. It takes the groundwork that was laid out and builds upon it. If you found Breath of the Wild to be a slog, this might be your sign that Nintendo is attempting to strike the same notes as its predecessor, but on a bigger scale. For me, this was exactly what I wanted. A refined and expanded experience built on something I already loved. A Game of the Year can stand on its own, whether you're a lifelong fan of the series or not. Did Tears of the Kingdom offer a perfect experience? Absolutely not. But it did a damn good job at offering a beautiful world to explore, filled with life, and plenty of content to keep you busy for hundreds of hours if you wanted. One of the biggest complaints from Breath of the Wild was the absence of dungeons in favor of the divine beasts. Tears of the Kingdom brought dungeons back, and for the most part they all felt unique, both mechanically and aesthetically. I think it's fair to say that they were still not on the same level that people expect from a traditional Zelda dungeon, but it was absolutely a step up from Breath of the Wild. I also think it's important to consider how much different it is to build a puzzle when Link's feet are firmly planted on the ground and can't lift off into the air at a moment's notice. The beauty of solving puzzles in this game is finding your own solution. However, it's usually so much easier to create your own solution than doing the intended solution, and this can trivialize things. Especially in the Fire Temple, where Ascend is practically all you need to traverse the labyrinth. The bosses were a huge step up from the Blights in terms of creativity and design. Experienced players may not find them very challenging, but challenging bosses have never really been a staple in the series to begin with, unlike something like a Souls game. As much as I may want a more challenging experience, that's not why people play Zelda games, and I'm okay with that. It's all about the adventure and offering exciting moments for all ages, and they accomplish this throughout the entire game, including the dungeons. Shrines and Korok seeds return to fill the world with optional puzzles and many challenges. I love these, and I hope they continue to be a staple in future games in some form or fashion. If you're a 100%er, completing all of these may feel like a huge task, but I never felt forced to do them all. At a certain point in my first playthrough, with maybe half the shrines and a few hundred Korok seeds total, I absolutely felt like I had more than enough hearts, stamina, and equipment slots to do every challenge this game had to offer. I have still yet to do every puzzle, and I don't feel compelled to. By choice, I'd like to leave some shrines for future playthroughs, so there are still new things to explore. The overworld was fleshed out with expanded enemy camps, what felt like hundreds of caves, Addison-signed minigames, sky islands, and the best-kept secret, the depths. Although early trailers indicated we may be going underground, I don't think anyone expected how big the depths would be. A full one-to-one mirror of the world above in complete darkness. Did you know the light roots have the same name as the shrine above, but in reverse? I loved the depths, and seeing it for the first time was an awe-inspiring moment. It's fair to say that the depths could have used some more secrets or puzzles to flesh it out, but it was still awesome to explore the first time. On the other side of the spectrum, we have the Sky Islands, which are so great to explore, but I was disappointed there weren't other large islands like the Great Sky Island. I would have loved to get DLC that takes advantage of the Skybox a little more, but who knows if we will ever see additional content. For me, what makes this Hyrule so fun to explore are the abilities that the game provides you with to interact with it. I was very worried about losing things like the remote bombs and stasis. They felt so core to the gameplay of Breath of the Wild, how could you possibly replace them? And boy was I wrong. The new abilities feel so naturally implemented. They work perfectly with the world and how you explore it. I do miss the tricks you could pull off with the old abilities, but the new ones allow for so much creativity and freedom that I found myself enjoying the discovery of new ways to navigate and solve puzzles. I don't think anyone was prepared for the creations that we would see people make using Ultra Hand, or the ways we would use recall to launch ourselves into the air. The creativity that this sandbox allows feels so rare, I struggle to think of any game that provides this level of ingenuity and uniqueness. Players are still discovering new things, and I highly recommend any fan checking out the Hyrule Engineering subreddit if you're looking for inspiration. No game this year can hold a candle to the imagination that Tears of the Kingdom sparked. The main story quest was much stronger in Tears of the Kingdom than it was in Breath of the Wild. I am in no way a lore master and play games mostly for gameplay, keeping story secondary. I don't know if it was nostalgia or if my allergies were acting up, but there were at least 2 moments in the game that brought me to tears. I won't spoil anything, but I just didn't think a Zelda game could hit me so squarely in the feels on multiple occasions. I felt myself ignoring the main quest near the end simply because I didn't want it to end. I think the story delivery could be streamlined a bit, like hearing the champions repeat the same story of the Demon King every time you beat a dungeon was weird. Is it as action-packed as Spider-Man 2 or Final Fantasy 16? No. Is it as dynamic and as personal as Baldur's Gate 3? Also no, but overall it was very enjoyable as a Zelda fan, and is just one piece of what makes this game great. Although I completed the story, I didn't experience all the side quests, and like the shrines, I'm okay leaving them for future playthroughs. The ones that I did do, like the Fairy Fountain questline and the Lucky Clover Gazette, were enjoyable and offered rewards worth the time investment. The amount of side quests was slightly overwhelming for me, but I'd much rather have too many than too few. All the side quests made Hyrule feel much more alive than its predecessor. On top of the fleshed out overworld and the insane ways to traverse the game, there isn't an open world game in the last few years, barring Elden Ring, that does it better. For all these reasons, Tears of the Kingdom is a great game. It is my game of the year and by far one of my favorite games of all time. But I can't ignore my bias here. I've been a Zelda fan for a very long time. Tears of the Kingdom gave me an opportunity to share that love I have for the franchise with other people. I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I was given several months ago when my videos happened to be picked up on the For You page. I'm very, very thankful for anybody that enjoyed them. It was incredibly fulfilling and motivating for a small creator like myself. Zelda will always be a core part of my content, and I really hope that you'll continue to join me here on this journey. Thank you.